Welcome to Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz, a candid conversation as we learn about dementia, Alzheimer's, and its effects on the people we love. Jill's years of dedication and experience help you adapt, recover, overcome obstacles, and help find a positive outcome. It's time for Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz.
Hello, friends. Hope everybody's having a great day so far in my caregiver nation and friends with diagnosis. I am really happy today because my good friend Amelia Schafer, the executive director of the Alzheimer's Association Colorado, is with me this morning. Hi, Amelia.
Good morning, Jill.
You know, I called you in the midst of an onslaught of requests for interviews because breaking news this week, our beloved Bowlen family has yet again been struck with a diagnosis of Alzheimer's.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. Unfortunately, this week, Annabel Bowlen, the matriarch of the family, announced that she too is living with Alzheimer's.
Right. And, you know, for me, and I know a lot of people, especially throughout the city, there was just this overwhelming sort of sadness. But the other part of that, which is a dichotomy, is that my heart was full because this sweet, gorgeous, compassionate, kind woman who has given her heart and soul to the Denver community and opened their lives to Pat's journey was able to talk about it and say, I'm willing to share this.
Yeah. You know, I felt the same way, Jill. I, of course, was heartbroken, and I felt how unfair this is for this family to have to be doing it again. But then I looked at the strength with which Annabelle is conducting herself right now and the leadership she's taking yet again to bring awareness. You know, I said to someone earlier this week, she didn't have to do this.
Right.
You know, she has done enough for this disease, and she could easily have just made this a private family matter, but she really wanted to do this. She was the one pushing to do this because she knew what a difference it would make, how much awareness it would bring, how much money it would bring for Alzheimer's research, and hopefully to help enhance care and support for everyone. So, you know, again, as you said, it's brought incredible awareness to the disease and to people living with the disease and their caregivers. But what a terrible way to have that.
Well said. And, you know, the strange thing was that I think it's the first time I could remember in a long time where I heard someone come out and say they have a diagnosis that I, and hopefully others, did not automatically jump to what she's going to lose or what she's already lost or anything like that. I mean, she is still an extremely viable person in our community. I've met Annabelle several times. She has shopped over the years at Marielle. A good friend of mine owns a store in Cherry Creek called Marielle. Denise Snyder owns that store. Great store, by the way. She was a shopper there. Mm-hmm. And then a few years back, it's been 5 or 6 years now, the Alzheimer's Association worked with the Broncos to become a partner in the community for the Broncos. Yep. And at that time, I think the Alzheimer's Association was the 10th company to come on. But their commitment to the Alzheimer's Association has been incredibly strong.
It has. And, you know, many people equate the Bowlens with the Broncos, clearly. Right. But we actually have a separate relationship with the Bowlen family from the Broncos. And so, you know, we view those as two very distinct relationships. And it really should be, because the Broncos really are a community partner who, they're a business. Right. And so we take that relationship very differently than with the Bowlen family, who are a family, unfortunately, going through this horrible disease.
First and foremost. And like everyone else, there are children involved. There's a history for them.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, and I could be, I think both Annabelle and Pat's parents, one of their parent has had this diagnosis in the past, which is scary for families. I have that in my family, not on my dad's side, but definitely on my mom's. And just the grace and the warmth and the compassion and the courage that they have shown really touched my heart.
Yes. And, I think people look at the Bowlen family and maybe put them up on a pedestal and think, well, they've got everything and, but they are a genuinely kind, sweet family. They really are. They're people. And just like anyone else struck with this diagnosis, they're people trying to figure out, what does this mean for them? What does this mean for their future? What does this mean for their kids? And so, I think they are a family in the spotlight, I think we have to look at the fact that they're a family struggling with and figuring out what does this all mean for them. And I have been so impressed with how they have handled it.
Oh, me too. And even at the walk every year, the Walk to End Alzheimer's Denver, from a security standpoint, they still need protecting because people want to get too close and, but I have to say, I have witnessed multiple times when Annabel would literally take pictures for a half an hour straight with people and they'd want to hug her and she never get back, don't touch me or anything. She would hug people. She would talk to people. They cut the ribbon every year. And I'm hoping that this year they're there again. And people come out and say hi to her. Maybe make some signs, folks. Make some signs saying, thank you, Annabel. Thank you, Bowlen family, for sharing your journey with us. You're one of us, right? They're part of our caregiver nation and Friends with Diagnosis now, right?
That's right. And, we're encouraging Broncos Country. We're going to be looking at ways to get Broncos Country more involved with our walk. It's nice. It's in September, City Park. So,
and I'll do my part. So we'll try to get people out there. So sign up. Go on alz.org/CO and sign up for the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Get a team. I'm going to have Aaron and one of my favorite people, Kristen Beatty, on the show in a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about the walk statewide as well. Awesome. Before we wrap this up with Beth, with the Bowlen family, Beth is also on the board.
Yeah, that's Bowlen. Right. Beth Bowlen, and Pat's second oldest child, is on our board of directors.
Yeah, and she has been phenomenal.
She has. She's been on our board now for almost 3 years and has been a wonderful contributor. She's been involved with our Memories in the Making auction, and she's on the Memories in the Making committee. And she really is looking for how she can make a difference, really in honor of her dad.
And what that says to me is that we think of them as iconic figures. But when they're sitting in the same room with you and they're walking around and talking to people, like we saw Annabel at Memories in the Making, and Beth, and although they step-parent and child, I think they're close. They have a close family. So it's just I just really wanted to shed some light on that this morning and paint them as a family that goes through what we're going through. Our love, our care, our admiration, all of that goes out to them.
Absolutely.
Mental hugs, virtual hugs.
Yes, and big thank yous for once again putting their family in the spotlight to talk about this disease that many people try to really hide in the darkness.
Right. So we're going to take a break in a minute, but when we come back, I want to talk about your new position, my friend.
Let's do it.
Boy, I tell you what, we had a concerted effort to get Amelia this job of the executive director because her many years at the Alzheimer's Association Colorado have been spent with advocacy, moving the mission forward, looking for research, helping get all the services and programs pushed forward. One of my favorites, of course, is Leaders in Dementia Care. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Amelia's new role, what she sees as the focus for the Alzheimer's Association Colorado and nationwide moving forward, and then also the commitment to research. Okay, so we will be back in just a second and can't wait to talk about it, Amelia.
Thanks, Jill.
Hey friends, I'm excited to tell you about Pine Grove Crossing Assisted Living and Memory Care in Parker, Colorado. They set the bar high for person-centered care. They're locally owned and they focus on exceeding their residents' expectations while providing excellent dining, housekeeping, and transportation services. Their care team with licensed nurses are available 16 hours per day, 7 days a week to ensure clinical needs are addressed as soon as possible. Check them out at pinegrovecrossing.com or 303-996-8000 and see how care goes into everything they do.
It's time for Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz.
All right, we are back, and I am here with my good friend Amelia Schafer, the Executive Director of the Colorado Alzheimer's Association.
Hi, Jill.
I'm so happy you're here. You should know, folks, Amelia, I called her the other day, and I texted you, and I said, if I send you an email, can I get you on the show and maybe one of the Bowlen family? And you said, I'm sorry, we can't do that. We've had some very strict parameters. And you did 10 interviews.
It was pretty crazy.
Holy smokes, over 2 days. So I feel honored to have you here today.
Well, it's all about raising awareness, making sure people know they're not alone and they're not the only ones going through this. So.
Yeah. All right, Amelia, we're going to get into a tough subject here, doll. Okay, so the association, since Linda Mitchell left, had a little bit of struggles in the community, some misconceptions, and be careful what you ask for, you just might get it syndrome, which I feel is what happened. So let me explain what I mean. So when I ran the walk, and I helped manage the sponsorships for the Education Symposium and the walk, the biggest thing I heard from people was, where does the money go? Why doesn't more money go to research? And people just bent my ear and gave me a lot of grief about that, right? And so I would try to say, if you want that, then things are going to have to change, services will fall off, etc. Now, Angela Geiger, who was under Harry Johns, brought forth an idea to take more information online, as I remember it, that more and more people were going online. And as an association, the central office in Chicago decided to buy out and take over most of the chapters across the country.
Yep, we went through a merger, I guess.
Went through a merger.
We called it Mission Forward.
All right, I like it. But part of that point was to put more money towards research. Some of the services dropped off. Now, I've tried to explain to my listeners over many occasions that some of those things that happened, like the Savvy Caregiver class, for example, or the Leaders in Dementia Care, just became bigger than what you could handle with your limited staff. And also, you could go and go to a company, meet 200 people or 300 people, hopefully get some sponsorship that would bring more money in. But the association as a whole really wanted to listen to what people said and give more money to research.
Yep.
But when they did that, some things dropped off. People were laid off, things like that. And then people turned around and said, well, the association's going down. No, they're not. In my mind, you just really had to push forward in what you thought people wanted.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
I would say part of that's true, but let me tell you the good news.
Great.
The good news is we're getting ready to end our fiscal year actually we just ended it because today's July, isn't it? Holy cow.
Yay.
And this past year, we actually served more people in Colorado than ever in our history of service. But what we offered, the kinds of offerings did change. We did change a couple of programs that we weren't able to really serve the masses. We were serving very few people very well, but we weren't able to serve the hundreds and thousands of people we needed to serve.
Right.
But through our programs, the support groups, education, and our helpline, and care consultation, and early stage engagement, we actually served more people than ever this past year. So I was very proud of our team that even through the changes we experienced through the merger, we stayed really focused on our mission of serving everyone affected. Now, we're not even close, Jill. We're not close to that, but we got much closer this past year and these past couple years. But you're right. It changed things for people. It changed the perception of the association. But I would say, change is part of life.
Right.
And we have got to change along with it to meet the demanding needs and the growing needs here in Colorado.
Well, that is absolutely right. So I wanted to name a couple of the research projects that the Colorado Association actually supported.
We should announce that to your listeners because I wonder if they know.
They're
Do you want a drum roll, Jill?
Let's do a drum roll. Okay. I'm going to read the first one because it matters to me, okay?
Yes.
But the Early Career Investigator Grants Research Projects funded by the Colorado chapter of the Alzheimer's Association were for dollars between $150,000 and $175,000 over 3 years. Some of those approved projects were, and I bug Dr. Potter about this all the time, characterization of tau astrogliopathy.
I'm impressed you're reading these on the air, Jill, because I'm not going to take that.
On aging and neurodegeneration. And that was by Dr. Roberto Rodriguez of the University of São Paulo in Brazil. That project will focus on how age-related tau protein builds up. And that's important to me because that's what my mom died of.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes. Well, and this is, so let me give you the rundown.
Okay.
Basically, our board of directors in March voted to fund $1.1 million in Alzheimer's research that would have gone unfunded otherwise. We had these great research studies. They had gone through a very stringent vetting process.
Right.
We did not have enough money through the Alzheimer's Association to fund them. So our board took Colorado donations and paid $1.1 million to fund 7 different studies across 4 different continents, mostly around what we call discovery science, because there's still a lot we don't understand, like the tau. What's the role of tau versus amyloid?
Right.
There's that question. So these 7 researchers are all working on what we call discovery science to really understand what's happening before the first symptoms exist, what's happening with the interchange between the tau and the amyloid. It's really it's the early parts of this disease that we are funding, and these folks who probably wouldn't get funded by the NIH, right? Especially those who are out of this country. So we're really excited about the opportunity, and we don't know. We know the first survivor is out there, Jill, right? Out there somewhere, right? And we know that if we don't fund research and support research and get people to be involved in clinical trials, we're not going to find that person.
Right. Well, I want to run these down really quick. The second one is PET imaging by mitochondrial dysfunction in tauopathy by Dr. Anna Barron, and she is in Singapore. The third one is non-invasive biomarker of CSF production by Dr. Liz Zhao of Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston. And that one's talking about what you just said about non-invasive tests used to investigate or predict individuals with Alzheimer's. The next one is capillary dysfunction in Alzheimer's disease, physiology and treatment by Dr. Eugenio Gutierrez Jimenez of University of Aarhus in Denmark. And that one's huge. That one's talking about oxygen level and brain functions and how it affects Alzheimer's. The fourth one is targeting dopamine neuronal loss in the model of Alzheimer's disease, and that one's the University of Rome in Italy. Huge. Also, drug development of pro-resolving Alz and an agonist for Alzheimer's disease by Dr. Enza Lasevita of the University of Bari in Italy. And last but not least, relationships between multiple sensory impairments and cognitive decline by Dr. Willow Benowitz at the University of California, San Francisco. I love it.
Yes, we do too.
I love it. So people, don't be mad at the association if they drop the Savvy Caregiver. Just come to me at summitresiliencetraining.com. I'll provide those family classes. You're busy trying to solve the disease.
Well, we are still, again, much there for people. We just need to reach more people.
Exactly.
And that's really the thing. We want to make sure everyone in every corner of Colorado is getting the service. At the same time, we're advocating for practices that will help people living today, will help increase research funding. And then, of course, research has to be a big piece of what we do.
Right. Well, think on that for a minute, folks. We'll be right back.
Living and working with Alzheimer's and other dementias can often be challenging. Summit Resilience Training provides education utilizing non-medical approaches for those who work with our friends affected by dementia. Believing families still need one-on-one assistance, we provide classes which help them understand the diseases affecting their loved ones, offering strategies and techniques for success with activities of daily living and working with confusing behaviors. We offer in-home assessments. Education programs instilling person-centered care philosophies are offered for professional caregivers working in communities and homes, which can be customized for their staff. Training is also available for first responders. We are passionate that people with dementias such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and others are approached with compassion and understanding, and those who work with them have all the tools they need for success. Call us at Summit Resilience Training, 303-420-6988 to schedule a class or in-home assessment. Visit our website at summitresiliencetraining.com for more information.
It's time for Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz.
Okay, we are back with Amelia Schafer, the Executive Director of the Colorado Alzheimer's Association, my good friend. And so we were talking about research, and I tell my listeners that I try to make it my business to know what's going on around the country. And just to kind of wrap that up, I just think it's important that people, and the reason why I read it is not because I expect y'all to remember it. I just want you to know that there's a lot of great research going on around the country. I've been dealing a lot lately with scams, people claiming to cure Alzheimer's or prevent Alzheimer's. I've had a show and a show and a show about that. But so we're not going to talk about that here today. But anyway, we know these people that are saying that they can cure it can't cure it, right?
Well, you know what,
Put your money here.
We wouldn't be on the radio right now. We'd be on every corner, wouldn't we? Telling people, here's your cure for Alzheimer's. We would not be sitting here talking about it.
That is so true.
It's my greatest hope, honestly.
Yeah. So I have to tell you, Amelia, you were so ridiculously beloved that I think probably 1,000 people wrote letters to the Alzheimer's Association saying we wanted you as the next executive director. And me and my husband Jim were two of the people that did that.
I thank you all. That's so sweet and kind. I will take it seriously, and I'm going to fight hard and work hard. I tell people I'm in it until Alzheimer's is finished.
Right? Me too. So, okay, another tough question. Years ago, we thought there was like 120,000 people in Colorado with the disease. Then it dropped to 100,000. Now we're saying there's 71,000. What does that mean? Are people dying? How did the number go down?
Yeah.
Of the people in Colorado? Because it seems like more people are being diagnosed every day, and the statistics are saying that more people are being diagnosed every day.
It's confusing, isn't it?
It is.
Well, this is something that I've learned recently. You know, the CDC, or the Centers for Disease Control, are the folks who track all disease processes. But guess what? They don't track Alzheimer's disease. So any statistic you hear about Alzheimer's, as well as many other diseases, are what we call prevalence statistics.
Okay.
So based on research, we know 1 out of 10 people over 65, 2 out of 3. So we basically look at age statistics, and then we take Census Bureau data and have an overlay and say X number of people in Colorado are living with Alzheimer's. So you're right. It is very confusing.
Yeah.
But there's not a big spreadsheet in the sky that's tracking all the people with Alzheimer's.
Well, that's bad. No GPS tracking on this.
Now, what I'll tell you, though, is that partially we think it's because this hasn't been given the status of the public health concern that it should be.
Right.
And really, a place like the CDC should be looking at Alzheimer's, and we're fighting for that. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I was on Capitol Hill saying, listen, let's make Alzheimer's the status of a true public health crisis that it is.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. In the coming years, we may see some changes there. But until then, we have prevalence statistics. So 71,000 people in Colorado are living with Alzheimer's today.
Okay. So there's a rumor out that the NIH is passing some money forward that actually should have been given out a year ago, but was cut by the current administration of $400 million. Is that back on the table now?
Actually, what I can tell you, the good news is that money that wasn't cut actually was put back on. So we've had, over the past 3 years, we've had an additional $400 or $425, $410, $415 million dollars put for Alzheimer's research through the National Institutes of Health budget.
Awesome.
And that was put on. And just last week, the Senate committee approved another $425 million. Now,
Yay!
I'm glad you're clapping, but this is a marathon, not a sprint. So it has lots of additional steps to go through.
Oh, darn.
But the good news is the advocates out there across the country, including about 14 from Colorado here, went 2 weeks ago and asked for $425 million from their representatives. And guess what magic number they presented recently? $425 million. So,
awesome.
Jill, the exciting thing is if we get this funding, this will put the National Institutes of Health budget over $2 billion. It'll be $2.3 billion annually for Alzheimer's research. That will be huge.
Wow. And like I said, and I tried to demonstrate a minute ago, there's a lot of good research going on.
Yes.
So, Amelia, what do you see as the future of the Alzheimer's Association? And you can maybe speak overall, but what do you see in the near future for the association? What do you hope for throughout the rest of this year under your new leadership?
Yes.
Let's start there.
Well, actually, I'm very excited since today's July 1st to tell you that we start a brand new 3-year strategic plan today.
Yay.
And so I can tell you exactly what we're going to be focused on. One is, again, serving more people, getting into communities, making sure they know they're not alone.
Right.
Another is research. We're funding research from the association at a level we've never funded this coming year.
Right.
And we have it ramped up, doubling it each year over the next 3 years. We're actually looking at integrating into health systems as well to make sure that the practices of how we handle people from diagnosis to death are not only dignified, but are best practice and what we know will help the person live their best life as well as the family.
Right.
So those are our 3 big initiatives, I would say, through advocacy, communication, all of the fundraising that we'll need to support all of the people who and the work we're doing. Those are 3, I think, really important things that'll be happening in these coming 3 years.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that'll be fun to track. And one of those things, by the way, thank you for asking me to be present at the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment to testify. I appreciated you bringing that to my attention and giving me the date and time and saying
we needed a strong advocate who wasn't worried about speaking their mind, and I thought, Jill Lorenz.
I love you for that. So that was awesome. Thanks. I appreciate that. And give the numbers for the association, email address, and so forth to the listeners.
Bet. So I think one of the best ways to reach us is through our helpline number, 24/7, 1-800-272-3900.
Say that one more time.
1-800-272-3900. Or if you want to go online, alz.org/CO for Colorado. You'll find local resources. You'll figure out how to get in touch with one of our 8 offices here in Colorado.
Awesome.
And just if you need us, we want to be there for you. But if you want to be a part of this cause, we also have over 1,000 volunteers across our state.
There you go.
And we could not do what we're doing without them.
I started as a volunteer.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, most of your people did at
Actually,
one time or
many
another.
of our staff started as volunteers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need our volunteers. Absolutely do.
And we need the Alzheimer's Association. We need it. We need you to be our guiding force. And I appreciate you working with my company, Summit Resilience Training, and allowing me to kind of take over and do some of that the Leaders in Dementia Care classes for professionals that you created and brought to Colorado. And I love that. And so we're just going to get better working together, right?
I can't wait, Jill.
Yeah. So hang on a second. Next week, I'm going to have Penny Cook on my show. And I love Penny. She is with the Pioneer Network. She's the CEO there. And they say they are changing the culture of aging in the 21st century. That will be a fascinating show. Amelia and I have known Penny for many, many years. We've worked together on the Education Symposium every year, and I'm excited about that show, so be sure to tune in next week. Amelia, it's awesome to have you here. Any closing thoughts about the Bowlen family, the association?
Yeah, I would just say, we're all given a voice. And it's how we use it that really matters. You're using your voice for your passion. We see the Bowlen family using their voice to really raise awareness. And what I would say to your listeners is use your voice.
Yeah.
You have a voice no matter what your audience is.
Right.
Use that for good. If you want to be a part of the Alzheimer's Association's mission, we'd love to have you. So give us a call and we'd love to get you on board.
Yeah, come to the walk and everything else. And hey, last thought from me. What I'm trying to do, and I think what Annabel and the family are trying to do, the Bowlens are trying to do, is say there's no stigma around this. Get over it. Tell people it's a brain disease. A lot of families are dealing with it, and we just want to give our love and compassion out there to people and say, how can we help? And that's what we're all about, right, my friend?
That's right.
Well, Amelia Schafer, I'm so glad you're the executive director.
Thank you, Jill.
We're going to go out and have dinner and celebrate soon. But I will see you all next week on Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz, and thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz. Visit her website at summitresiliencetraining.com to learn more and join us next week as we learn more about dementia, Alzheimer's, and overcoming obstacles with a positive outcome. See you next time.